YouTube thumbnails, the key to the YouTube success, alongside with the titles, of course. The thing that everybody seems to understand and everybody seems to know about, but the majority of them still failing miserably to do a really good thumbnail. So what's up with it? Thumbnails actually one of the key pillars of YouTube success, alongside the video itself, of course, and the titles, because YouTube thumbnails and the titles are actually granting you views, while the videos itself is granting you watch time and subscribers. So you need views in order to gain watch time and subscribers. So if you don't have a good thumbnails, you don't gain views, and you don't gain the subscribers, and you don't gain a watch time. You got me that right? So YouTube thumbnails, for that reason, is a very important thing to know how to do. And in this video, I will show you very briefly how I create my thumbnails. By the way, I will be showing live in this video how I created a thumbnail for this video, and I'm gonna be teaching you some little techniques about the thumbnail creation. So first things first, I want to talk about the software that is necessary to create a really good thumbnail. Of course, the better the software is, the more professional software is for thumbnail creation, the better. And Photoshop is one of the best things that you could learn to create the thumbnails from. But the Photoshop is actually pretty expensive. Paying for the Creative Cloud is not that great, and for that reason, I highly recommend you to use the software called Affinity Photo. Yes, I'm talking about more advanced creations. You can create a good thumbnail with Canva, you can create a good thumbnail with PlaceIt, you can create it with good thumbnails or PicMonkey, but I'm talking about really good thumbnail creation because you need to up your game. You need to learn software like Photoshop or Affinity Photo in order to understand this. So why I'm teaching you about Affinity Photo? First, I'm gonna be creating my thumbnail in Affinity Photo on iPad, which is very important. And second thing, Affinity Photo is a very powerful software that rivals of the Photoshop and probably is practically the same thing as Photoshop, but much cheaper. In fact, you can get it for your Windows and for your Mac, and it costs at the moment of the recording $25. One-time fee of $25. Usually it costs $50, but now because of the pandemic situation in the world, it costs $25, which is amazing value. It's a lifetime value. It's not the subscription fee, it's you get it once, you pay it once, and you get it forever. And what is most important, you can get a software for iPad as well, Affinity Photo on iPad, which costs $10 right now instead of usual $20, and which is as good as a desktop software. And for that reason, I will be showing you how to create the thumbnail on the iPad. So without further ado, let me just jump into my iPad and I'm gonna be showing you everything in there. Okay, we are here on my iPad, and right now I'm gonna be showing you how I can do it in Affinity Photo. I'm just gonna open Affinity Photo, just give you not this one, I'm gonna give you just initial tips on how you can start. This is my Affinity Photo. I'm gonna go to NickNyxson YT here and add a new thumbnail right here. I'm gonna go with the new document, and all you need to do is to select the resolution of 1280 by 720. People usually go with the 1920 by 1080, but you actually don't need 1080p resolution for your thumbnails. Let's choose the DPI with 300. Transparent background. This is not a very important stuff. Only thing that you need to do is it should be in 16 by 9 aspect ratio. So these numbers, just remember these numbers and do the resolution of your photo like this. Press OK. And right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and do the thumbnail right now. Do it from the very beginning to an end. Go through this process, and in the end, I'm gonna be discussing what I did, why I did it, and how I did it. So let's just go. So, okay, this is our end result. It looks pretty good to me. Maybe it requires a little bit of work, but in just a few minutes work, it's pretty good. So what do we have? The main importance of this thumbnail is it should be clearly visible from this distance and from this distance as well. You practically can read it from any distance, which is very, very, very cool thing. So what I did here is, first things first, I had a background, which background was this picture right here. I'm gonna disappear everything, this picture right here, and what I did, I just displaced it and make it just distorted in the way so it would look like something like a screen, so you would like watching on it from the different perspective. Then what I did is I added a rectangle in the behind, which would be the same color as the border right here. Okay, I'm gonna disappear this border right here. As you know, I'm doing this on iPad, so notifications will pop up. The same color right here, as you can see, it's the very distinct coloring right here. You can see it. So it would be like it's not in an air, so this is without anything in transparency. It will look like very, very bad. Now we edit this one. After this, what you can see is I can say that I added different adjustments. Mainly I added vibrance and saturation, and that add a brightness and contrast. So with this, the colorful ones pop up and non-colorful ones just fade away in the darkness. Then what I added was I added my picture right here, which I have in an assets. This is my assets. I have this one prepared for my thumbnails in advance. This is the things that I usually use quite often, so I created an assets like this, so it would have a very, very simple access, and you can do this in your Affinity Photo if you're doing this. I think it's available in Photoshop as well, but otherwise you could use just a regular folder for this, for photos like this. I added my picture. I have pre-cutted this one. I have several photos like this, as you can see, pre-cut, and I just edited right here. And what I added is, when you look like that, the photo looks way too bright compared to background, and I changed a bit the photo's brightness and contrast, so it would look a bit more better. Then what I did, I added the two types of two text, like thumbnail and in minutes. Why did I do it separately? Well, because I wanted them to edit in separately, but I united them into a single group, and then I started using effects right here. I'm gonna select this group just for you to know, so it would the effects would be the same for the both stuff. What I could do at least is I could do the effects on one text and then duplicate the effects on the second one. But yeah, this whatever I did right here is easier. So first things that I did right here was to add an outline. So when you add an outline, without an outline, it looks like there is no border between the text and the background. So when you add an outline, it immediately pops in front. Then what I did is I added outer shadow. There is an actual shadow. You cannot see it well, but there's you can see it right here. It's not as important, but it adds a bit more depth, just a tiny bit. With a brighter background, it pronounced better, but with this background, it is good as well. Then I added an inner shadow right here. Inner shadow actually allows you to have more like a 3D effect for your letters. It's kind of like making the edges of the letters a bit darker and the centers a bit more brighter. It looks a bit better. If you can see, like, compare, it looks a bit more volumetric. And the last but not least, I added an outer glow to fully separate it from the background. It's kind of like a lighting hitting from the behind, which looks pretty good for me. Last but not least, I added a YouTube logo. I added this logo right here, and as you can see, without any effects, it does not look that great. It doesn't. Oh, I did this for the other one. I didn't select the correct one. I'm going to select this one right here, then go to effects and outer shadow, inner shadow, outline. Without everything, yeah, it actually looks pretty good, but it looks pretty flat compared to text. What I did first is I added an outline to, again, separate it from the background. I could do an outline here as well, and it would be white outline here as well, like above the black outline. It would be great as well, but this is pretty cool as well. Then I added an outer shadow. It's the same thing that I did in the text. It does not look that pronounced here as well. If I will show it, you can see it right here, but it's not look that pronounced, but it's good when you have it. And then I added an inner shadow to give it a bit more volumetric view. What I wanted to do next is to give more volumetric view to the play button here as well, but you cannot do it separately inside the picture. You cannot do the separate effects, at least in Affinity Photo. At least how I know it, you cannot do it within the Affinity Photo. You cannot do the separate thing with the separate part of the photo. So what I did instead is I selected this part with the selection tool right here, and I just cut it out and made it a separate layer. And then what I did is I did some effects on this. This was without everything. When I added an outer shadow, it immediately looks volumetric. You can see the shadow right here, a bit very thin shadow. And when I added inner shadow, the same thing happened with the play button inside this that was on the outside. So it looks pretty good. So the goal of the thumbnail was to make it look volumetric and to look it pop up and to maybe make it visible on every side. You cannot see it. You practically can. I'm standing around like half a meter from the screen, like I can say like more than 1 feet from the screen, and I can pretty much distinguish every single text that I can see. I have a 20/20 vision, but still. The regular like text will be visible on a phone screen, something like that, and it's distinguishable, which is very good. It will be visible on around like this on a computer screen, and this is the full size thumbnail, which is very good. And this was the goal of this thumbnail. Hey guys, Editing Nixon here, coming from the future. I just want to let you know that my newest and one of my best course called TubeHeroes is out on Udemy right now. If you want to know everything about the YouTube growth, YouTube channel building, and everything from the very beginning to the advanced level, my best course is available already on Udemy. You can check it out in a link down below, and don't forget to use my coupon code to get best price available. So let's just get back into the video. As you can see, creation of the thumbnail is not as difficult process. All you need to do is to have in mind something like the small elements, like the background. You need to have like in mind like something like brightness, contrast. You need to have like text. You need to have a separation, etc. It's same as the recording video. As you can see, I'm lighting up, like I have light on me, and I'm separated from a background which is complete and utter darkness. Well, it's not actually dark, but still, whatever, it's visible at least on the video. So, well, just a bit for today. Thank you for being here with me. I hope this video was helpful. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe for more videos like this one, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. See ya.